Hey there, everybody. Always happy to be back here with you on the channel. I welcome you to the channel. I appreciate your support. So glad that you are here. If you're landing on the channel for the first time, my name is Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I'm a tarot reader and oracle reader. I'm also a former newspaper journalist, so that kind of gives you an idea of how I approach spiritual readings for more insight, more depth, but I also try to stay on top of what the heck is going on. And finally, I am an initiated priestess in both Wiccan and African traditions. So that just gives you a little background. Again, if you're not already familiar with me, you're welcome here. I love this community. I love this platform. Your voices, your intelligence, your vigor, your engagement, all of it means the world to me. And I truly, truly appreciate your time and your energy on the channel. That said, I want to start the day off with a couple of lighthearted things that have happened. Many of you may have already heard. So part of what people are doing, coming up with some pretty ingenious ways to deal with resistance to ICE and the ICE raids and the stops, grabbing people off the street. So I understand that in LA in particular, a lot of the white residents of LA have started putting Mexican bumper stickers on their cars so that, they flag. ICE thinks they've got one in the bag, right? And they're flagging people and just like basically, slowing them down, wasting the time, like frustrating them because, they're making these stops. They're falling for it. It shows they're falling for it. They're using any pretext to stop people. So that I thought was really interesting that people thought of that. Like, okay, we're gonna put some bumper stickers on our cars. Go ahead and stop us. And look who I am. And here's my ID. I think that's pretty interesting. Got a sense that that's probably gonna grow. People are looking for any number of ways to counter what is happening and just continuing to show that people will not cave to this. That said, another sort of humorous thing. So we know the New York mayoral race. Mamdani Spirit has been saying he's going to pull it out. However, we do see Cuomo cozying up now, taking a lot of super PAC money from Bloomberg and some others, some other big DJT, I'll call them that, DJT supporters, coming up, Walmart money. A lot of folks, they're pouring the money into Cuomo because they're afraid of some of Mamdani's stances around affordable housing, etc. You all know this. But the third man in that race, current mayor, disgraced mayor, let us say that for entertainment purposes, only got to do it. I'm going to do it one time and then that's it, right? Eric Adams. So one of his campaign aides apparently slipped a bag of potato chips with money inside of it to a reporter. Okay, to I guess influence the story or whatever this reporter was doing in regards to Eric Adams' bid for re-election. So of course the reporter went back and like, this surely is not right. And this aide had the nerve to come out. She was Chinese, respect to the culture, but she came out and said, oh, no, I didn't mean anything by that. That was just a part of our cultural way, a traditional way of showing gratitude for the work that this reporter is doing. Needless to say, from what I understand, the Eric Adams, organization let this person go. But it just also goes to show that for all of the things and, that we have heard about Eric Adams, that this is something that is happening within his ranks. Very, very interesting. And he has a snowball's chance in HE double hockey sticks of getting reelected. He knows it. I am shocked that his campaign has not folded before now. But I guess because he is the current mayor, that's why he's doing it. So moving right along, third humorous thing. The elderly white hippies. Stephen Miller hauled off because he's very, very upset that there have not been, that by and large Black and brown people, people of color have said, we see what you want to do. We see this setup coming. So we're gonna sit back in the background and let our other folk, have the stay at the front of the line of this movement, right? So Stephen Miller's pissed off about that and came out and said, this ain't nothing but a bunch of elderly white hippies got something to say. We ain't paying. They need to go home and take a nap. And woo, have you seen social media light up around that? Because they're like, first of all, do you even understand who has been at the forefront of major resistance movements in this country's history? Like, for real? And the fact that, hey, we are retired. We have time on our hands. We can volunteer. We can hit the streets. We have the right skin tone, right? Very, very interesting, and I want to applaud that. And what Spirit gave me, you all, was like an image of a beehive being disturbed, and I was like, "Well, who's the queen?" And Spirit was like, "The queen is the Statue of Liberty. Queen is the Statue of Liberty." So yeah, you go ahead, Stephen. Keep on. That you done stirred something up now. And again, this isn't just about what's happening in D.C. Although another thing, yesterday we know that DJT went out and did another little photo op with the National Guard or whatever. He did a photo op. Props to MSNBC for refusing to show it, at least as far as I know. When I saw it late yesterday, they were like, we're not even going to show those photos. But what they did, from what I understand, a few blocks away, they had a music festival in the street, like a block party. They had go-go music. It's been all over social media. You may have seen it. People of all races, ages, hues, etc., just coming together and having an absolute good time. Of course, with signs, etc., expressing the situation. But that was just such a contrast in alternative reality and the real reality of what people were feeling. Props to that as well. All right, you all. I want to take a look at a couple of things that are happening. We understand that a judge has said in Florida, Spirit said a while ago that this would happen. Alligator Alcatraz was not going to last. It could not. They threw that thing together in 8 days in the middle of nowhere in Florida, where, still in the midst of, at the height of hurricane season, right? So far, nothing. We've heard some flooding and certainly horrendous conditions there. But the Miccosukee tribe of Indians came out and said won't happen. And let me tell you, these tribes are billion-dollar powerful. Their voices. They have no issues. They got the money to take things to court. They did so, but they won on environmental grounds, not humanitarian grounds. So they have been told, state of Florida has been told, they got 60 days to get rid of Alligator Alcatraz because of environmental concerns, that it has disrupted the wildlife. It is detrimental to the Everglades, etc. So they won, the tribe, Miccosukee tribe, won on those grounds versus humanitarian grounds, but still a win is a win in that regard. Spirit said that Alligator Alcatraz was never going to last. It was really a stunt. It was a publicity stunt. Unfortunately, a lot of people who have been taken there, detained there, have been harmed in that process. But I do want to take a look and see what DeSantis's next step is going to be, if he's going to try and relocate and still have have another detention facility in Florida like that, or something similar, because remembering as well, he has not ruled out a bid to make a run in 2028. Okay, I am using today for my readers out there, the Witch's Wisdom deck. At the bottom of the deck, after I shuffled, I've got the Ace of Earth. So confirmation, if you read with me, you know that when I get aces, it's my spirit guide's way of saying what I'm feeling and intuiting and channeling is on the right track. So this is, DeSantis is thinking of what else can I do? Where else can I relocate it then where I won't get that kind of pushback, because he is thinking about his political future. Spirit, will the state of Florida, but then there's the Eight of Cups. There's the, he's being advised, DeSantis is being advised, this is a no-win for you. even if you, knowing that you have, remember that Ace of Earth, knowing that you have these still political aspirations, this particular way of going at it, this detention centers is not going to be a win for you. This is going to continue to keep you under the spotlight and under fire. That's that Eight of Cups. Tends to mean walk away, and too much. Ten of Wands, exactly. Too much heat. And remembering as well, from what we understood, the state of Florida, I forget how much money it was, but it was in the millions, right? To throw that thing together, 8 days again, to throw together Alligator Alcatraz, with the so-called promise from the federal government, DJT et al., to reimburse Florida for it. So Florida was fronting the cost for that. And I think that's part of what this Ten of Wands is about as well. Too much of a burden financially, because they're taking a loss at this point. Do you really think that Trump that they're going to reimburse the state of Florida for something that now has to get taken down? They've already lost money on it. So I think that's what Spirit is saying with that 10 and the 7 of Swords. Exactly. Deception. They will try and spin it that this was once again the radical left judiciary that has come out against the administration, la, 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 la. But at the end of the day, they won't be able to figure out a way to financially put together another detention center. And DeSantis has concerns around him taking a real hit behind this, like his political future. Is that correct, Spirit? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got 15, the devil, and they call it a journey, but it's a journey to nowhere. Yeah. All right. So the bottom line is you're going to hear a lot of bluster around this, perhaps a little resistance, but at the end of the day, this is a no-go. It's not sustainable. And the Miccosukee tribe they will not give up this fight. The Everglades, not going to be there. And then DeSantis has to worry about how am I really setting myself up for a even worse fall, 8 of Cups again? Should I just walk away from this one? Because he still does have political aspirations for 2028, and the money is on the line. Because they're not, DJT, Washington is not giving Florida the money that they promised to even have and sustain a detention facility. So we'll see what happens with that. The last thing that I wanted to look at you all today is we understand that John Bolton, there's been a raid. FBI has authorized a raid on John Bolton's home this morning. I'm taping this early, around 8 o'clock Eastern time on Friday morning. And that was one of the headlines that I saw, that they've done this raid. Now, John Bolton, in case anybody doesn't know or not has forgotten, he was a former national security advisor, but he has been someone very, very outspoken, a very outspoken critic of this administration. Quite to the point, saying some things, right? So I am wondering if this is the beginning of many. Now they're saying their justification for raiding his home, Bolton's home, is Bondi et al., who Patel authorized this raid, is that we know that the FBI, all of them have been super paranoid about leaks, potential leaks that have already happened. We heard about all this. They're giving them polygraph tests, to test their allegiance to the administration. So there's what I'm getting is there's like the paranoia is like clinical, like next level. I want to know. I'm going to ask, even though I get the sense, Spirit, will they find anything too harmful around Bolton through this raid? With the 7 of Wands, this is bluster. This is bravado. This is intimidation. Will they find anything? Will they find something harmful towards Bolton through this raid? No. No, this is the tower. This witch's deck has an interesting twist on how they classify certain cards. This is love. And notice the fox. It's almost like being outfoxed. No, there's no there. This was pure intimidation on behalf of, and the three of earth, the three of pentacles, them showing that they are, for all of the Bongino, Patel, Bondi, et al., for all of the talk that we've heard around dissension within their ranks, them falling apart. This is an effort for them to show that they are strong, that they're standing strong. Bongino, we know that we heard a lot around him lately because now there's a co-deputy director. Like, why was that necessary? We know Bongino was making some noise recently around being upset around the Epstein files. We were wondering, is he even going to last? Still a question mark around that. Why would you bring in a co-deputy director? But this raid on Bolton is an effort for them to show we're locked in. We're locked in. It is still us against you, no matter what. Spirit, will we see more raids against former people who had security clearances? Because if I'm not mistaken, his security clearance they've been yanking those clearances. Bondi's a team, they've been yanking security clearances from any and everybody for a while now. We have the Four of Pentacles. I want to clarify that. Spirit, more, or will there be more? Is this going to be part of a string of raids that we will see? The Witch of Water, or the Queen of Cups. It ain't over. It was definitely a signal being sent by Bondi et al. Mess with us and we'll come, we're going to make trouble for you. I mean, can you imagine? This was, from what I understand, like a pre-dawn raid or a dawn raid. So here you are sleeping, minding your own business, and bam, 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 there they are. There's going to at least be the threat of it, but I don't see like a wholesale any and everybody, them showing up and doing, and conducting these raids. And again, the Ten of Swords. No, this is definitely just to instill fear and another effort at intimidation for anyone who was previously with the administration, maybe 45, when he was 45, to say, if you say something, we will come at you. That's all. This is pure bullying, but nothing is going to come out of it, you all. And so they're not going to be able to prosecute Bolton for anything substantial. This is purely about just checking him, literally checking him and putting him in place. And I'm also getting the Two of Cups. I feel like, again, this is a confirmation of the partnership that behind the scenes, Bondi, Patel, question mark still around Bongino, but everyone within that milieu has been told, you all have got to figure out a way to not only play nice together, but take actions that show there is cohesion. That's what this was. It was an exercise in more bluster, and it's not going to actually harm anybody. And there's a Seven of Pentacles. Finally, I was led to pull one more card. So this is assessment. They are looking at, is there anyone else worth that, in any way that we could justify potential, have there been classified documents released or information released, etc. So they're still looking at what else they can do, because right now, let's face it, they're drunk on power, right, you all? They're drunk on power, and they've been turned loose. They've been absolutely, given free rein to go out there and do whatever they can do. So not going to happen. Finally, I do want to close with Gavin Newsome. Gavin Newsome did the thing, right? He signed off on it like, all right, I told you what we were going to have to do if you did this, Texas. And did you see the gentleman in, what was his name? Pete, a former firefighter, showed up in Texas yesterday and said what everybody's been feeling. Like, this is not what we wanted. Republican, this is not what we wanted. You all are so wrong for this, and there will be a backlash. And that's what Spirit has said around what's happening in Texas. There is going to be such a huge backlash. And even with these new districts, don't be surprised if it doesn't yield what they were directed by maps, by redrawing these maps, that they thought they were going to get these extra 5 seats. Not so sure about that, you all. But we got a long time between now and election season 2026. We're going to keep looking at that for sure. But Hochul, so Gavin did his thing, put the ink on the paper. It's in motion. Voters are behind it, not just in California, but around the country, are saying, we see it for what it is. You got to fight fire with fire. Where's the rest of the fire, you all? Like, what's up with Pritzker? We know that he supported the Texas Dems. They came to Illinois. That was, Illinois and New York. Now we got Kathy Hochul out there saying, from New York, Governor of New York, saying, all right, game on. But we also know that apparently, I don't know all the details. You some of you probably know more than me. But there's I guess procedurally or otherwise, even if Hochul goes that route, it wouldn't take effect until 2028. So not in time for the midterms. I am getting a sense, however, especially with the mayoral election in New York City, that by Hochul coming out forcefully on the heels of Gavin Newsome, this drives up the vote in general. Am I right about that, Spirit? Even though she may not be able to get the maps, or New York cannot get the maps in time, the Queen of Cups comes back again. That's Hochul. Yeah, this gets people moving. This taps into the people's sentiment, cups, right? Emotions, people's sentiment, people's feeling about what is right, and what they absolutely will not sit back and let happen. We have Journey, the death card. Transformation and the Two of Swords. So that's the crossroads that she realizes they're at. We can move forward with this. So I'm getting, thank you, Spirit. They're going to move forward, even if it doesn't take place until 2028. They're going to move forward with dealing with the mapping in the districts in New York, because 2028 is going to be extremely pivotal as well, right? But what this does is it still galvanizes people to continue to stay involved in this process, to understand what is at stake, how high the stakes are. And I think it's going to drive, Spirit, is it going to drive even higher voter turnout for the mayoral election? 5 of Swords, contradicting messages, because some people will check out, or not check out. They have not done a good enough job yet of engaging some reluctant voters. There are the discussions still need to be had. This is a lot of town halls, social media messaging, progressive, not just candidates I'm getting, but progressive voters, identifying with that block of voters who are progressives, particularly in the state of New York. So that's what that 5 of Swords is about. There's still a lot of work to be done to do that. And we have the but we got the 6 of, they call it maze in this deck. We got the 6 of Wands, you all, path going forward, and notice that lightning strike in the back. This is lighting up the people to say, guess what? Numbers or no, maps or no, we still have the right to vote. And this is going to shift a lot of people who once they hear enough, that 5 of Swords, once they hear enough, and if they can get the messaging down, if they can keep that communication going on all apparatus, right, then that's going to mobilize more people who, regardless of the maps, the vote is still the vote. All right, you all. I hope you stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. I'll check in with you probably on Sunday. All right. And as we say, keep that chin up, right? Know who you are and know who you stand for, and know that you are not alone. Shoulders back, walking tall, not defeated, not anxious, walking tall and remembering in this time more than ever that by doing, whether it's this channel, social media, however you can stay engaged and keep your heart calm and cool and rhythmic is the word that I just heard, right? Keeping yourself healthy, keeping your nervous system in check, and knowing that at the end of the day, this is a moment in time, and we will get through it. We will get past it, right? Because of people like you. All right. I'll talk to you real soon. Stay safe. Bye.